Welcome back to another episode of the Life in the Right Lane podcast. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, then you are noticing that we are in a different room.
That's right. We have abandoned our lowly kitchen set and have moved into this nice, homely setting.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. We've had this in the works for like months now because it just kind of destroys our whole kitchen, living room area when we have to set up and tear down so often. So we knew we wanted to carve out a space in our home, which will be probably changing in the next few months anyways. But we wanted a dedicated space to do these podcasts every week because obviously setup time and tear down time is easier on us. But then also we just want to welcome you into our home. And this is a homey little setup, and it's a little bit more warm and inviting to watch and listen to than at our kitchen table, which is also great because you have great conversations over dinner and over meals. But this is a little bit more cozy. So
yeah, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go do that for the pleasure of seeing us in this new set. But also, we're going to be doing a lot more things on YouTube, making things available that may not be on our podcast audio channels. So that will be a good place for you to see some of that content. But we're really excited today to talk a little bit about something that I think we would have gone further into had we dated longer. We dated for 3 months, but today we're talking about creative date ideas because we believe that dating should be fun and it should be something that ultimately brings you closer together and not just something that you can throw on Facebook and that's it.
Yeah, it's intentional dating is so important, not only to have fun, have a good time and get to know someone, but it's so important to experience each other in all of these different environments and facets so that you truly understand that person. And it gives you more insight into whether or not this could be a potential future spouse for you or not. You know, it kind of narrows the focus. So, and also it's just really fun.
Yeah.
So the first date night idea suggestion that we have that we did not get to do, and I'm so sad about it because it would have been really fun in the early days of our relationship to do this one. But basically, it is a paint each other date night. So honestly, you don't really need any tools for this. Like if you've got pen and paper around your house, markers are great, colored pencils,
so
paint.
You can sketch each other.
Yeah, so you sit on opposite sides of the table and you just grab whatever supplies you have and draw each other. And then you don't show each other. And then at the end, you show your wonderful masterpiece. And if you have zero artistic skills like me when it comes to drawing, then it's going to be hysterical. And I just think that that is such a fun way to get to know each other's personalities a little bit better and see if you have an artist in the relationship.
Yeah, it's actually kind of unfair if you do have an artist in the relationship because the other person will always feel inferior in this challenge. I think one thing would be cool too, if we did this, it would be fun to do it like a caricature. So you emphasize the features that you pay attention to the most. So like for Victoria, I would probably emphasize her eyes.
He loves my eyes. That's all he talked about when we were dating.
I'm a big fan. But it would be interesting to see, where does your partner look when they look at you? Are they looking at your ears, your mouth, your nose? So that would be a good challenge to do if you find the normal one boring. But that's a good idea. What would be your preferred medium to execute this drawing challenge, drawing, painting, sketching challenge?
I think I would want a pencil.
Just a regular pencil?
So that I could erase it. But then I would love to have markers to outline and do it. But painting would also be fun. I think paint would be cool. What?
I said that would be hard because I can't paint like normal things with a paintbrush.
It accelerates the challenge even more so.
I might go with the 6-year-old special, which is crayons. One of those boxes of the 48 with a little sharpener on it.
Yes, the sharpener on the back came in clutch. That was awesome in
Draw
kindergarten.
you in a burnt sienna.
I never knew what color to use for people's skin in my family. Like I would alternate, I feel like, between yellow and orange because there was really no tan. And then if you did have a pack that had tan, it didn't really show up on the white piece of paper that you had.
You couldn't color anything with tan. Some of those crayons, I remember thinking, why is this even in this box? Like white? How many times do you have actual colored paper?
That's true. Well, when you're a kid, you probably do, but that's beside the point. Okay, so that's a really fun date night idea to just get to know each other's personalities a little bit better. Do something fun that you normally wouldn't do, and I don't know, it's just fun to kind of characterize each other. Caricaturize each other, if that's even a word. Okay, the second date night idea we have for all of you singles and dating people is, how often do you actually wake up early enough to watch the sunrise, to just sit and watch? Now, you people that live at the beach or on the coast somewhere, you have a head start because I feel like that's a common thing to wake up early and go sit on the beach and watch the sunrise over the water.
Anyone who lives at the beach, you should be doing it more than anyone, and you probably don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's more common at the beach.
You have no excuse not to look at the sunrise.
Anyways, it's not very common because life is just busy. So we challenge you to wake up early on a Saturday morning, pack a breakfast maybe the night before so you don't have to worry about that really early in the morning, and go to a spot in your city, wherever you live, that has a really great view, and bring a blanket and watch the sunrise with each other. Like, what a beautiful thing to get to experience together and watch.
Yeah, and if you want to level up that experience, I would bring...
Nicholas has all the tips, apparently.
I do have the tips. Bring your Bible and read Psalms out loud. There is nothing more perfect for outdoors and just like sitting in this beautiful expanse than reading Psalms. And obviously there are Psalms that are more joyful than others. So pick the ones that are happier, maybe. Or you can pick the sad ones. That's okay too. But that's such a cool way to experience the beauty of God's creation with someone you find very beautiful, and doing something that will ultimately, bring you guys closer together. That's the point of all of these, is you want to be closer together.
Right.
So like with our first one, you're drawing each other. You are exposing yourself to their judgment. And that's a good thing. You want to, because you want to be vulnerable and open each other up. If you're watching the sunrise together, you're appreciating God's beauty, and you're talking about how incredible God is and how he created all of this. And you're getting to share a very intimate moment without necessarily sitting on the couch super close together. You're in a place that is more conducive to the type of intimate moment you want while you're dating.
Yeah, that's a really good point. What's our third one?
Our third one is going to be to... So this is something that we have wanted to do for a while, and I actually got close to this. I got very close. And frankly, we could do it now. Dating? We could do it now. We're pretty close to that. So something that has gone away that should not have gone away are disposable cameras and actual film cameras.
Let's take a moment of silence.
Take a moment.
We honor you.
Film cameras are so foreign to most people in the world because they get the instant feedback of having the picture to look at. And so you take twice as many pictures. Actually, probably 10 times as many.
Oh, yeah.
Recently, I was gifted a film camera that was my parents' growing up. And we took it on a couple trips that we went on. I still have not gotten the film developed, so I need to do that.
Yeah.
But I have to fill up the roll. That's the thing. You can't just develop film that's not full.
Because it's expensive, right? You have to wait until the roll is full and then you send it off to be developed and then they send it back.
Right. Yeah. You cannot take it to a local CVS or Walgreens anymore. They don't do that. You can take it there, but then they send it somewhere. So the challenge that we give you, get 2 disposable cameras. You can get the little mini ones if you want, but preferably something that you can't get instant feedback from. If you want to cheat a little bit, I know that I think it's Kodak makes a camera that has mini printable pictures, which we have a few outside on our fridge, but little mini printable pictures that will print right there, and they'll take a little bit to develop. You got to shake it. So you can do that. But the idea is you're going to go on a photo scavenger hunt. So we're not going to tell you what to shoot with your camera, but pick 10 things and make them as random as possible, because the goal is it's going to be hard to get those things, but you want to see if you can get them. So you're going to go to a place that may have at least most of the things that are on your list. So I wouldn't put take a picture of a cow if you're in the middle of New York City, right? But maybe you take a picture of an ice cream place that has a cow on it. You can find some ways around it.
Yeah.
But your job is to go out and take 10 photos that you agree upon, and then you send off the film to get developed. And then when it comes back, you have all of these awesome pictures from your adventure. Most cameras, I think they come with like 25, 27 photos. So be creative with the rest of them. You can have 27 ideas, I guess.
Be a long date night.
Yeah, you could do it multiple times or whatever. But that would be something that would be really fun. And I know we would like to do some things like that. The challenge is always like you have to set up the time for it, which is true of all date nights. So the disclaimer for any of these, this is not a slap it together. You've got 2 hours one day, go out and do it. You need to put a little bit of thought into this. But the point of dating is to put thought into it.
Right.
And so don't just go for the ideas that are quick. Like, oh, let's go out and get something to eat and go to a movie. How much talking do you do at a movie?
Yeah. Well, how many movies do people go to nowadays?
Yeah, that may be going away.
But yeah, I mean, just like sitting around and watching Netflix or a movie at one of your houses, and going to dinner is nice and conducive for good conversation. But at the same time, like, you've got to put yourselves in different situations so that you really experience the fullness of that person,
Right.
Like anybody can have a great conversation and you think, wow, this person hit like all of my points. They're literally exactly what I'm looking for. They said everything that I believe in. And I've had that happen, trust me. And I've been like sitting there thinking, wow, this is him. Like, this is it on pen and paper, like everything is just sounding so sweet to my ears. Like, he's hitting all the points that I'm looking for. But then you hang out with them in different situations or around different people, or just spend more time together in different settings, and you realize, oh, maybe I was a little off about them. So yeah, that's another reason why being creative, like putting some thought behind your dates and not just like a random hangout, is so important on many different levels.
Yeah, absolutely. And our fourth idea, which we did actually get a chance to do.
This is the only one we actually did, so we're preaching to ourselves.
We will do the other ones and report back.
Even though we're not dating anymore. Well, even though we're not.
Never stop dating.
We are dating, but we're dating in marriage now.
It's a different type of dating.
It's a different type of dating, but I will say we will do these date ideas because we thought of them and they're really fun, and
they're good ideas.
Now I'm just so excited. So we have to plan them out.
So our last idea, and listen, this takes the cake. This is the most fun, I promise you.
Because you thought of it. That's why you think that.
Well, I got it from someone else, I'm sure. I didn't just
Oh, really?
It up.
Okay.
So your budget is not going to be very expensive for this. So make sure that you put in the effort instead of the budget. Each of you gets $10, or if you live in another country, pick a currency that is enough to buy like a really comparable like fast food / nicer takeout dinner.
Mm-hmm.
That amount of money, you're going to go out to a thrift store. Here we have Goodwill, but there are a bunch of local ones you can go to. So go to a used clothing store, and you're not going to pick your clothes. You're going to pick your partner's clothes. So you will go through, select items. You can only pay up to the amount of money you have, and then you'll wear the clothes on a date night. So for us, we went.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to put an extra like surprise spin on it, don't tell whoever's planning this date night, don't tell the other person where you're going on this date. So in this situation, I did not know where Nicholas was taking us. So I'm like, clueless.
Right. But I think we did. I told you once we got there where we were going to go.
That's
that
true.
Evening.
Because I got you a shirt that had a horse on it because we went to
the rodeo. And it was not my first rodeo. It was my second rodeo, which is the primary reason I went, so I could say that. But we went to a rodeo, and if you've ever been to a rodeo, there's a lot of people there that they go all out. They look a little bit crazy sometimes. And we were getting a lot of stares. So if that tells you anything about the clothing that we picked out. But it was a lot of fun. And the purpose of that date night, and what I got to see out of Victoria when I did it was I put her outside of her comfort zone, but then obviously I was out of my comfort zone too. And it was evaluating, can we be out there together? Like, do you trust me enough to want to be with me, even though we look silly, even though we may not like be blending in? Do you trust me enough? And are we pursuing each other in a way that is okay with us being highlighted? Because the reality is, in our faith, we're going to stick out like a sore thumb. We're going to be, as time goes on and things get worse and worse and more obvious, we will be the ones that get the weird looks. And you want to know that now. You want to know, is my partner willing to do those types of things? And obviously, there are lines to those asks that you can ask of your partner. But I think little fun things like that, where even if you just go to dinner at a moderately priced restaurant afterwards and you look ridiculous, those things are fun to do together, but you're also getting to see, are they willing to do this sort of thing? Or do they care so much about what other people think that they're not really willing to do that with me, even though I'm doing what, we're both doing it together.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was, so he planned this date night when we were pretty early on in our relationship. I mean, what number of date was that?
It's probably like 4 or 5.
Jeez, that's crazy. So all that to say, you can imagine how as a girl, I was like, concerned every time you hang out with the person that you have a crush on. You are like, you want to make sure you look good, and you think long and hard about what outfit you're going to wear and how your hair is going to look. And so I really appreciate Nicholas putting both of us out of our comfort zones so early on and just stripping away all of the vanity that comes with dating and just letting us be silly together and not worry about what we looked like, because it was very silly. Trust me. The thing that I learned most about Nicholas that night was that he thinks my waistline is a lot larger than it is. My pants were so large.
Well, okay. In my defense, women's clothing is very confusing because there are multiple numbers. For men, it's like you have your waist and you have how long it is, and that's all you need to know.
That's multiple numbers. We have, it's either small, medium, large, or like 2, 4, 2, 3,
you
4,
have those
5,
numbers,
6,
and
7.
you have your waist.
But
And
then there's also
as someone who has not
26.
shopped for women's clothing before, I found it very difficult, especially at a thrift store where they can have all kinds of clothing in there that's not in the right section.
Yeah.
So I did not understand her sizing correctly.
Yeah. Needless to say, we had to go back to the apartment to get me a belt so that I could wear these pants. But I will say, if you do this idea, And if you're a germaphobe, put some buffer time in there to come back and like wash the clothes. That's what we did. And I appreciate that. Nicholas is more of a germaphobe than I am, but I did appreciate not wearing another like random clothes all
and
night.
they all have the same smell. Have you ever been to a thrift store and smelled something different than the last thrift store? Because you don't. You smell the same thing. Somehow these stores, a collection of clothing from hundreds of households, and they all smell the same. I don't understand.
It's probably because it's like a bunch of stuff from people's attics and garages, and they all kind of smell like dusty and...
I really don't get it, but yes, building in the wash time was clutch. That was helpful. But it was a great date night. And, all of these date nights, it's going to be what you make it, right? It's going to be as fun as you get into it, because you can kind of not show up for any of these date nights and it's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
So when you're dating, you have to commit to being present where you are. You have to commit to being vulnerable, and you have to commit to like being genuinely invested in the other person. And then if you can do all of those things, you're going to have a great time. But it's the people that are teetering on being unsure and being concerned about what someone thinks of them, or hiding things that they don't want the other person to know. That's where it gets to be like you have to have all these crazy date ideas, or you just have to drink a lot. And that's something that,
alcohol?
Yeah. I mean, that's something that we have struggled with people around us. It's like with their dates and what they do with their significant other, it's all revolving around alcohol. And while you can have different opinions on whether that's, if it's okay to drink or not, the main focus of those nights is just to have a good time. And it never is about getting to know the other person. It's never about being intentional with your relationship. And so we would just encourage you, try to do things that do not involve you being with like this big group of people and just drinking, because those date nights will not be as nearly as impactful as if you go into it thinking, I'm going to be joyful. I'm going to learn about this person. I'm going to be able to see who they are, their personality. And then at the end of it, we are going to leave there with more life than we came in with, because we were around each other.
Right. And clarity, just it being more evident on yes or no for this person as you're evaluating them. But I mean, ladies, definitely take notice of the types of dates that he takes you on. And obviously, I'm assuming that he's taking you on dates and pursuing you, because that is what God intended for marriage and dating and finding your spouse. So I'm just assuming that he's already pursuing your heart and respecting you. But aside from that, take notice of the types of dates that he plans for you guys. Like, is he putting some thought into it? Like more than just 2 seconds? The reason why Nicholas, in your words, stuck out like a sore thumb in a good way, was because I wasn't used to being pursued in that way. I was not pursued enough to like put so much thought into what we were going to do the next time that we hung out. There were people that I dated who intentionally wanted to take me out, have good conversations. But then there were a decent amount who, blew me off, or exactly the type of situation that you explained. And it really left me more confused than anything, because I wanted to be invested in this person and I wanted to see where this could go, but he was not setting us up for success and getting to know each other and helping us both decipher whether or not we're good for each other. And so that prolonged the time that was kind of wasted, And anyways, so it was like night and day going from men like that and Nicholas. It was very evident who was pursuing me with their whole heart and really was behind this and wanted to see where this was going to go wholeheartedly. And you really notice it. You really do. If you're looking for it, you can tell the difference in how they are pursuing you. And that speaks volumes to their character and just to how they honor and respect you as a sister in the Lord, and just the way that we're called to love each other, very intentionally thinking better of that person than you do your own self. That's so biblical, and that's how we should treat everybody that we come in contact with.
Yeah.
So
there's so much to be learned.
There is.
That is definitely something that I learned dating. And, we hope these are fun, but we're not done here. And we will be looking into some date ideas for people who are married. So stay tuned for that. We want to be able to continue dating even when we're in a position where we could easily coast and continue to be invested in each other. So dating is not just for those who have not been married yet. It is for the married people. But stay tuned for that episode. If you have not left us a review on Apple Podcasts, if you are a listener, please leave us a review. That just helps the podcast be able to be spread to more people. And it also gives us a chance to see what you think about the podcast. And please send us a picture if you do any of these challenges. So you can find us on Instagram at Life in the Right Lane. And please send us a picture. We'd love to see what you guys are up to.
That would be so fun. Please do that. Or if you've done one of these date ideas or have a different creative date night idea that you've done before, we would love to see, if you have documentation, what that entailed. All right. Well, we'll be back here next week. Until then, keep living life in the right lane.